Earlier this month, we marked the one-year anniversary of the tragedy in Lac-Mégantic, Quebec, where 47 people were killed when a train carrying highly volatile crude oil from the Bakken derailed and exploded and incinerated a large part of the city. The climate marchers here actually held a silent vigil inside a BNSF train depot in McCook to mark the occasion on that day. In the wake of the Lac-Mégantic tragedy and several other recent fiery oil train car explosions in the U.S., the federal government has finally mandated that big oil and the railroads disclose to state emergency responders details on just how many of these train cars carrying highly explosive Bakken crude oil are traveling through American cities, towns, and rural areas. But big oil wants our state emergency response agencies to keep this information a secret from the public. At first, they tried to claim it was a national security secret, but the government shot that down as being invalid. And now they say that their corporate trade secrets should trump transparency and the public's right to know. But what we know, the real reason that they want to keep it a secret is because they know there'd be a huge public backlash if people actually knew how much dangerous Bakken crude is being sped through our communities on trains and exactly what mix of toxic chemicals are being pumped through our tar sands pipelines. Thankfully, 10 states now have balked at keeping this info a secret from the public, including North Dakota, the very oil-friendly state that is the source of much of this volatile Bakken crude, and our neighbors in Iowa, who recently announced that just over 1 million gallons of Bakken crude travel through the state each week. In Washington state, just BNSF is shipping on average 18 oil trains through the state each week, each of which can carry up to 3 million gallons of Bakken crude. The state of Wisconsin told the railroads flat out that keeping this information secret from the public would violate its open records laws. So what about Nebraska, you might ask? The Nebraska State Emergency Response Commission, a board that is appointed by Governor Heineman, actually includes representatives from BNSF and Union Pacific, as well as the Nebraska Emergency Management Agency, are siding with Big Oil and refusing to disclose this data to the public. But you know, Nebraskans and the public, we have a right to know.
Yes.
When it comes to pipelines, it's the same thing. Big Oil doesn't want anyone knowing exactly what mix of toxic chemical diluents like benzene and toluene that must mix with tar sands to get it to flow through pipelines like the proposed Keystone XL. 4 years ago this week, over 1 million gallons of tar sands oil spilled from an Enbridge pipeline into the Kalamazoo River in Michigan, and 4 years and more than $1 billion later, it is still not completely cleaned up. So we are here today to call on Governor Heineman to compel all oil companies to disclose on a public website details on the amount and type of oil traveling by rail through our communities on a daily basis, as well as a list of chemicals like cancer-causing benzene that are being mixed with tar sands and pumped through Nebraska on pipelines. What's more, Nebraska has no coordinated plan across all state and local agencies to deal with a large pipeline spill or oil train explosion. So we are also calling for the creation of a multi-agency statewide task force that will include representation of citizens, landowners, and environmental groups that will analyze current emergency response plans and take a full account of the risks from oil by rail and pipelines in our state. How will our local first responders, rural volunteer fire and rescue, and doctors know how to react to an oil train explosion or pipeline spill and treat people who get sick if they don't know what people have been exposed to? Who would manage the cleanup process and keep Big Oil accountable to the public? We as citizens have a right to know exactly what Big Oil is shipping through our communities and to know what the response plan would be for our communities in the event of a train explosion or pipeline spill. We all drink clean water and we all cherish our homes. Governor Heineman, let's protect our great state and stand up to Big Oil. Thank you.